On today's show, I analyze a dream, but I demonstrate how dreams reveal what happens in the spirit world. We get to peek beyond the veil. This is one of my favorite parts of dream analysis, and we don't often share it on the show. Welcome to the Dream Interpretation Podcast with Michael and Sandy.
Hello, welcome everybody. So glad you're here.
This is another half hour of us eavesdropping on the very personal communication between the spirit world and you on your spiritual journey here on earth. Earth is a spiritual journey. Everything you do on earth is part of your spiritual journey. It's all about you learning about yourself and growing so that when you go back to the spirit world, your vibration is raised. How do you raise your vibration? Well, by overcoming the obstacles that you meet while you're here on the earth plane, not looking at them and going, this obstacle is here because of issues with my parents, and it's not my fault, and somebody else should remove this obstacle. We are meant to use those obstacles as a catalyst for our growth. Many of us do, but many of us don't. And this show, of course, is all about encouraging you and motivating you to do the work that you came here to do. Otherwise, guess what? You're going to come back and do it again or try it again. All right. We're going to do something a little bit different this time around. We're going to look at a dream and stop as we go through it and talk about how it reveals what goes on in the spirit world before we come here. Of course, there's a veil applied while we're here. We're not really meant to see the spirit world or know about it because we're meant to be fully immersed in the experience here. You'll have heard the term spiritual bypassing. That's where somebody is just trying to skip all the steps, overcome all the obstacles that are here by not doing anything about them, but by skipping to the end stage, which you can't really do. It defeats the whole point. But here we do get to see, in many, many dreams, we get to see preparation that we've done before we come here, or seeing skill sets that we've brought with us. And I mentioned these on the show, but I don't specifically point them out this way. Sandy, over to you.
All righty. Well, I'm excited. This looks like a fabulous dream. And the title is Changing the Timeline, and it's from Alice. I was in a conference room at a conference table with another woman. She was to the right of me, and I presented with two different timelines on taxes, two different documents, and each with differing dates. One of the documents was from the IRS, and one was from the financial planners. I was the one in charge of choosing the timelines. I chose the one from the financial planners, figuring they were more strategic. Someone else that was vaguely there asked if I've ever been accountant. I said, no, I just be the organizer planner. Okay, Michael, what do you have to say about that one?
So when we see a conference room or an interview in a dream, it's all about the interview process we go through to get a spot on the planet. There are an unbelievable number of souls. I don't even know that there's a word for how many zeros there are after, like it's, say, one with so many zeros. I don't think that number exists, or name for that number exists. That's how many angels there are, all looking for places to get here. And there's only a few of us here, a few billion, but it's still nothing. It's not even a drop in the ocean compared to how many angels are actually here. So we go through this interview process. And what I like about this dream is I learn things about the spirit world from looking at the dreams and channeling on them. And my angel team tell me things they reveal to me based on my questions about the dream. So I've always known that the IRS and paying bills and taxes and getting speeding fines and tickets and all that sort of stuff from policemen and dreams is all about you paying your karmic debts. And that's really what the IRS stands for. There's no way around it. You have to pay these debts. The IRS are a perfect symbol for that. But then in this dream, we see financial planners like, whoa, what are they? Like, what's the difference? So the IRS are the gatekeepers. Like, they're the ones that say, you're not getting past this. This is what you have to do. You must do. But the financial planners, new to me, are more finessed. They look at everything, the whole state of you. And then from that analysis of you, they figure out how you can get to a place where you're going to be able to pay your debts, how you're going to pay your IRS dues. And then the other thing I learned is that the financial planners connect you into the karmic system that's part of the earth plane so that you can do all of that. Anyway, we'll come back to them in a moment.
Excellent. Now we still have a woman that she was sitting with at the table.
Yeah, it's interesting that she points that out. So, is she involved in the planning stage of someone's life? That's the first question I asked because here she is at the table while somebody else is there. And they said no. And I find this always remarkable. I've never come across anybody that I've done dreams for, and there's so many thousands of people I've done dreams for at this stage, I'm sure. Nobody I know is ever involved in the planning stage. It is very, very specialist. And I have some comments on that later too. But she has access to the information determined from the planning stages. That's probably the best way to say it.
Wow, interesting. Okay, now you've got me all excited. I'm ready to move on. Then I got into a large vehicle, which is actually seems like an open platform. There were a fair amount of people, about 15 or so, mostly mechanics. They were all seated on the platform and waiting for me to transport them. I was going to be taking them back to work now that I chose the new timeline. I got on the platform from the right, getting ready to drive. I had a very thick red covered book I carried on, and I tossed it towards the mechanics and told them they could read it if they wanted to, that I already had. I looked back at the book. It slid behind me on my left and thought, geez, that's a thick book.
Again, the point here is to explain what we can see about the spirit world rather than really analyze the dream. So we're still kind of analyzing it, but in a summary form. So she's getting into this large vehicle, an open platform. So this lady, we've done her dreams on the show before. She's a specialist in the karmic system. And so she's getting into this. She's had dreams before about being on this open platform type Jeep. You know, it's kind of funny how it sticks through. But 15 is about karma. That's her path. It's meant to be. Mechanics would be equivalent of light workers. So she brings light workers into the karmic system. And so, of course, my question then is, because especially looking at the rest of the dream, because she's trying to bring them to a particular place, do light workers get special dispensation in the karmic system? And of course, I expected, oh yeah, they do, but they don't. There is some kind of difference, but I didn't tune into what that was. But they said no, really, they're in the karmic system like everybody else because they need to be drawn to the people that they're going to work with in the same way everything else happens in the karmic system. So karma pulls them to the people that need them. And karma itself, like the open platform that she talks about, karma is a world creation engine. Like you and I can exist on the same planet and live in two completely different worlds, all because of the karmic system. It's an amazing, amazing system. It allows me exist in a world that draws into my life all the things that I need, everything I need, all the obstacles I need, all the help I need, everything. Same thing is happening for you, but it's a world of contrasts. So your world and my world can be completely different, even if we're neighbors. We can be living in two completely different worlds because of the karmic system. I like how this lady then is bringing light workers to a particular place. So that's kind of cool because the mechanics are the light workers. What else have we got? Yeah, she's kind of like a karmic navigator, bringing them to where they need to be within the system. So they don't get special dispensation, but she has it and she can bring people to where they need to be. Now, that red book kind of stands out. And when I was talking to her, I looked it up. And the red book is all about government fiscal law. Now, I probably got that a little bit wrong, but it's just so hilarious. When you read about it, it would be the perfect uh, symbol for karma in a dream because laws are all about karma. That's why policemen and everything like that, uh, even traffic lights, stop signs, all those things will represent the karmic system in a dream. Of course, policemen also represent your guides because they enforce that system too. But so just an amazing reference to the laws within the system, which is just peppered throughout all of her dreams. Let's have a look at the next piece.
Okay, I love the fact that she mentions it's a thick book. Alrighty, as we move on. I was driving. I missed a turn. I was supposed to go left up a mountain pass, but I didn't catch the turn, so I had to go out of my way. The other route went down the mountain a little, and I was frustrated and cussed. Ooh, I noticed there was a way to get back on track, but the first turn would require us to climb a ladder on the side of a cliff. So I didn't want to do that. Then I saw a little further up, there was a way I could just drive through a hotel parking lot to get back on the correct road up the mountain. Figured that would be fine.
So this is interesting. That's the end of the dream. Um, so we see that she missed a turn. So this is like missing out on a karmic opportunity. And so then obviously the question to ask is, hey, can we reclaim an opportunity we missed out on? And the answer was no. You can't rewind the karmic system. It always moves forward and you must move forward and then realign with your path, which is what she says she has to do in the dream. She Otherwise, why wouldn't you just go back and take that turn? Why would you get out of a vehicle and climb a ladder when, hey, the turn is right there? So again, interesting. This is how the system works. It's like a clock. It always moves forward. You're never going to change it. And the other thing to note, and we've said it on the show before, is that we as spirits are in a place where we're projected into the earth plane. And this dreamer can use the facilities of this place to get people back on track. And that's what the hotel parking lot is about. Hotels are about reception at birth. So it's always right about like, this is, you're born, this is it, you're born, you're here. And so the parking lot is going to be like what is around that place. Anyway, this brought me back to the financial planning documents from the start of the dream. And when I asked about it, that they said that these are never, ever shared, but the planners will look them up for this particular lady, for this dreamer. And the planners are part of the approval for getting a life on earth. And when I looked at them, they're very, very tall beings and they have to see something in you. Like, I saw this in Michael, that's why I approve him. And they know how viable a life is. One side is the needs, and their analysis is how they think a person can manage those needs in this lifetime, how they're going to achieve the things that they plan to achieve. And the dreamer has access to the planners and they will share what they saw in a person. The documents, they say, are kept in a stored, secure part of the Akashic records. That means you and I don't get access to them. Nobody does, really. And if they need to replan, these beings come back in and reread the documents. But this generally does not happen. But for this dreamer, they will read the documents of one or more people. So if she's trying to connect people, they'll read of one or more people or even a group of people and explain to her how to realign the paths of those in question. Quite remarkable. But I mean, remarkable in itself what this person's able to do, but remarkable again in what the dream is revealing to us about how the system is managed for us. And knowledge of this level of planning would allow the system to be usurped, so it's never shared. That's what they said. So they never share these documents with anybody. These planners, they remind me of the beings that do the life review. I remember the first time I saw them, I was looking, I thought I was in this place and there was nobody in it. And then I realized, oh, these gigantic pillars that I thought were pillars are actually the reviewers. These are actually alive. And when you looked all the way up, it's like these are beings. They're just so tall that it's astounding. And the planners are like that too. Quite remarkable. And like when you see somebody tall like that on the other side, they're people, you don't mess with them. Nobody can mess with them. They have unbelievable abilities, but they are incredibly benevolent, incredibly loving. I mean, it's astounding what they will do to help us. That's really the way to look at it. Like, why should they bother? It is no advantage to these beings themselves to do what they're doing for us. They're doing it for us because of how much it helps the whole system. But anyway, over to you, Sandy.
Wow, that was quite an incredible dream. And I love all of the knowledge we got out of it. Can you imagine? This is so detailed. A life here is not an accident. It is thoroughly thought through and planned out. I find that just phenomenal.
Absolutely. And another thing that's interesting is how much there is this in everybody's dreams, you know, but because we don't have the frame of reference, we don't see it. But when you see it a few times in dreams, or you see enough, like here, it's like, I know what this is. This is pre-life planning because of the conference room and all that sort of stuff. Then you're like, okay, what is this piece? I haven't seen this piece before. It doesn't fit in. And then it's really up to you. Whatever questions you can think about and channel and ask, they're going to answer. So it's quite remarkable.
Okay, Michael, we are going to move on to Nicole now, and she has been going through our mail, looking at all the fabulous letters we get from people that listen to our show and use our dictionary. It's amazing. So on to you, Nicole.
Hi, Sandy. Hi, Michael. Today from the radio show Mailbag, I'd like to share some praise that you, the Ashling School, and the podcast have received because there's a lot of it. I only found you all a week ago, and I've spent nearly the entire week listening to your seminar, podcast, reading tutorials, recording, and attempting to interpret my dreams. Thank you so much for the work you do. It resonates so deeply with me, and I feel like I'm already getting a ton of clarity on the dreams I've had. I've been listening to the podcast almost religiously for the couple of years now. I have the physical dictionary, consult with it every time, and I also attended the Dream Interpretation Summit. In a nutshell, I am Michael's big fan, and I hope to do more in the future. I've been binge listening to your show for the past week. Incredibly amazing stuff. And that's actually a pretty common theme. People binge listen this show. They find your material, Michael, they find the Ashling School's material, and they devour all of it. And that's actually my experience too. When I found the podcast, I just couldn't stop listening. Dating way back to 2014, was it? I went all the way back and started from podcast number one. And that's a lot of other listeners too have experienced that. So let's see. Started reading your book recently. Love it. I found the Dream Interpretation podcast with Michael and Sandy, and it's like turning on sunshine. I really appreciate this uplifting and brilliant podcast. Many thanks and loads of love to the show and the work you do. You are really opening my eyes and soul and providing direction in my life. I'm such a huge fan of your show, and listening has been a huge comfort for me since I first tuned in only a few weeks ago. I've started reading Michael's book as well. I plan to take one or all of your courses and learn more about myself. And then this final one was interesting. It says, I discovered you on the Endless Possibilities podcast, and from that I discovered I have channeling abilities. And I thought to myself, this is Nicole talking now, Michael, you've been on other podcasts and you haven't told us? What other podcasts have you been on? Let us know. All right. Well, with that, listeners, if you've got a glowing podcast review, why don't you mosey on over to your podcast platform and leave a review? That helps the podcast and the Ashling School and Michael and Sandy reach more people. With that, Sandy, I'll send it back to you.
Thank you, Nicole. That is just absolutely fabulous. It's so exciting to see all the positive feedback. What do you think, Michael? You ready to
I
move
think it's
on?
funny. We're over 10 years doing the show. I don't think we've ever asked anybody to leave us a review or to even have we ever said give us a like on YouTube or anything like that. We're
I
terrible.
don't think so.
All right.
Okay, well, I'm ready to move on. And this one looks like an interesting dream as well. This one is called Organizing a Race, and it's from Jane. I was in some sort of assembly hall with lots of people. My friend, a young woman, was going stir crazy and said she needed to do something, anything. She needed to exercise and run around. I suggest that we organize a race that would give everyone a reason to practice, get outside and run, etc. She lit up and said, that was a great idea. So a group of us all set out to organize and plan the route. Some even went for a run. I was on the main street planning the best route to take. The street was full of crowded, lively restaurants, shops, etc., and was very busy. There were tons of people. I visited some of the local restaurants and then went into a store that sold trinkets. There was a lot of fun, unique items like crazy lamps, brightly colored feather boas, and other shiny knickknacks. I thought it would be good to support the local businesses by bringing the race participants through this part of town. As I was leaving, the store owner, who was a big, fat, jolly man wearing sunglasses and a Hawaiian shirt with color print, said to come visit again. I said I definitely would and called him Chef. Okay. I guess he also owned a restaurant. All right, Michael, that's it.
All right, I'm going to let you ask me questions about this. We're back to our regular style. But basically, this dreamer's main mechanism for helping people is to coach them on their very unique paths, uh, and specifically looking for opportunities for when they are ready to heal or to be lifted up or whatever it happens to be. So, like, coach, coach, coach. And then I now see something's ready. So I'm going to say, hey, you should run this race, and this is the way you should run it. And then basically she's going to help people get new lives. This is really good. Like, so the competition is good in this case. Like, how are you going to improve yourself? How are you going to go from where you are now to the next stage, let's say? And I told her, like, her team, her channeling team, she can channel, are a big part of how she works with her clients, and that she should channel to discover who her team members are. And I mainly said that because this chef is one of them. So when I was asking about the chef, because chefs are always about healing, not just healing, it's healing in a very deep way. So serving food or drink would be about healing, but a chef prepares the food for lots of people. So this is like really emphasizes it beyond the normal. And he's one of her team, so she has the ability to heal, but also, like, here's the recipe you need. Not like, oh, I'm just bringing you this food that I see over there. It's like, I can make whatever you want. I can create whatever you want. So again, it shows, like, it's very unique what she can do. And I asked her about it. She said right now she's setting herself up to get clients, to be able to get them. Like, she's in this. She used to be a chiropractor. She sold that business, and now she's moving into something else. And what I love about this dream is it's obviously a spiritual dream, because she talks about the lamps and we know it's career because of the street, I should say. She's saying run on the street. Streets are all about career. So it's all about her new business. And then she's deciding that the main street, she's on the main street. Like, that's really important, the fact that it's the main street, planning the best route for people to take. And she decides that she's going to have them run down through the local businesses and restaurants where people are selling these trinkets and gifts and lamps, brightly colored lamps and things like that. I love that she says crazy lamps, by the way. It's important she says crazy. So she is not only helping a person, but she's helping other people while she's helping a person. That this is the direction you need to go. And as you run through here, hopefully, like, who's going to stop in the middle of a race and buy a lamp? It's only in a dream, but the lamp would symbolize intuition. The feathers would symbolize connection with your higher self. Like, there's so many lovely things in this dream that she's going to get people to go through and discover what it is they need to do themselves. Have I explained it properly? I don't know.
This sounds really good to me. And then we've got a young lady that's going stir crazy.
Yeah, so this is good. Like, how do you know when to push somebody or not push somebody? So it's like, okay, you're no longer happy where you are in life. So this is the time that I now know I can challenge you to rise to the occasion and develop yourself spiritually. Like, again, she sets this race up, encourages her to do this race, and the race is going to go past shops and stuff. Shops are all about needs and meeting your needs. Like, think about it. That's why we go to the store. We have a need for something, and that's where we get it met. So she is guiding a person in their career to go to places that are going to allow them to meet their needs.
Wow, that's incredible. I love that dream. And it looks like we've got another small dream from her. It's titled A Close Call. Once again, it's from Jane. I was in a purple minivan with Don, who was driving. Don was our chauffeur when I was little. He was kind, attentive, and affectionate towards us kids. He was our favorite. He formed a close bond with my brother and was a great influence on him. I think we were leaving the shopping mall to go home. I was eating a cream puff, and for some reason, I didn't want Dawn to see me eating it in the rearview mirror, so I tried to eat discreetly. I looked out the window and watched Dawn as he slowly navigated a tight turn around a pillar. He took the turn just a little too close, and the corner of the pillar touched the car door. I tried to warn him, but it was too late. After he cleared the turn, I checked the car door and rubbed it with my finger. The spot was just under the silver brand logo. Thankfully, no scratch.
All right. So again on the street, same dreamer. And so we know she's a spiritual leader because of the purple. That's the color of the crown chakra. We know it's to do with healing because she's eating a treat. We've seen this many times in dreams, especially around Halloween. Anything that is kind of a pun on treat is about treating your client. And of course, she's eating food. The treat is a food. So we said that from the last dream. Food is about healing the body. So we know she's a healer. And then we see the main issue of the dream. She doesn't trust her own masculine energy. And that's why we have Dawn show up in the dream. And healing is a masculine energy gift. So Dawn shows up because of all the people, he's her favorite. Like, so from childhood. So this is really good. So it's a childhood issue that causes her to not trust masculine energy. Now, the problem, of course, when you're trying to start up a new business is that's masculine energy. Career is masculine energy. Like you're creating something in the out world. You're projecting yourself into the outer world. And so having this issue with masculine energy is going to be a problem. And the dream's trying to address it. And we see other symbols for masculine energy. We see the pillars. That would be all about masculine energy too. And she's trying to warn this guy, but and he still scuffs the door. And where does he scuff it? Under the silver brand logo. She's just recently worked on a logo for herself. That wasn't the one in the dream. But again, it's all about her branding. And this is how I'm going to start off because that's the stage she's in. So the fact that it's a silver brand logo, we know she has a strong intuition as well. Anything else that I didn't include? The not trusting the masculine energy. The main reason we can say that from the dream is because she's trying to hide the fact that she does healing. She's hiding the treat from the chauffeur. So, of course, it's not going to be about the chauffeur. It's going to be about her parents. So then I asked her, do you share what you do with your parents? She goes, oh, good God, no. they don't, they wouldn't be into this at all. And they always think the choices I make are the wrong choices. And so I thought, okay, that would be different than obviously when you were a chiropractor, they would be fine with that. And she goes, no, they didn't agree with that either. So it doesn't matter that it's a non-conventional route she's going now, because that's at least her intention is to go non-conventional and step into the spiritual and do healing and so on. But I love the dream for its simplicity and how it shows like this is what you need to work on. And of course, then, like we say all the time, the obstacle is the way. So if the obstacle is the way, and my issue now is about putting myself out into the world at the same time as trying to hide what I do, we can see the conflict. You can't have people show up when you're also trying to hide yourself, or at least you're wasting your energy. You're rowing forward with 2 oars maybe and rowing backward with 1. So you've got to fix that, and then your movement forward is going to be so much better. But that's the issue. And I know it's easy for me to say, hey, you can't hide this from your parents, but it's not really about your parents. What it says is you hide who you are, you hide what you do because of the way you were with your parents, because of the way they were with you. And you've got to heal that, which you can. And then once you heal that, you're not going to be hiding who you are from anybody.
That's awesome. I really like that. What a cool dream. Is that it for today?
That is, we are out of time, but I enjoyed the show.
I did too. This was fabulous. What a great set of dreams. Anyways, I hope everybody has a good week and we'll see you next week. Bye.